Okay, so welcome back or welcome to the first video. In this video, we're going to see the whole structure of this instrument Congo. So this is a Congo. The whole instrument is called Congo. Internationally, people call it Congo drum or Conga drum, and there are many of the names like that. But in India, most of the people, mostly this is called as Congo. So starting from the basics, a Congo is made up of 3 drums only. First is called the bass drum. Second drum is called the tom 1. Third drum is called the tom 2. You can also call this as first, second, and third drum. So these 3 drums makes the whole instrument. Now let me lift it up and show you that by this drum, all the 3 drums are not placed at the ground. Why their bottom is not covered from the ground? As you can see that their bottom is hollow. So why it is not covered with the ground? Because they have to be kept a little bit above the ground for the sound to pass through it and then spread. I'll tell you once again that whenever you strike a drum like that, so the sound from the membrane goes to the ground below and then it expands. So the sound which is produced when the drum is above the ground is much more soothing and perfect than when it is placed close to the ground or on the ground and the opening is blocked. So that's why we have to keep all these 3 drums lifted above over the ground. Now how do we do it? We do it with the help of a stand. So this is called Congo stand, and the stand can be made up of iron or steel or anything else. In the earlier times it was also made up of wood, but here it is made up of steel to give it more strongness. So all the 3 drums are supported with this stand. Now how do we fix these drums into that? These drums are fixed with the help of a circular ring over here which has been welded over on the stand to get a perfect fit of Congo over it, like this. So there's a circular ring. This is the steel stand. These 3 are Congo drums, and the whole instrument is thus named as Congo. So I think that we have seen everything, every basic of the structure of this instrument. Now let's analyze each drum, how the drum is made and what material is used to make this Congo drum and why that material is used. So I have taken out the bass drum from the stand, from the whole piece, and let's see how the bass drum is made. So this structure which you can see in the black over here, this is made up of wood. So my instrument, my Congo over here, is made up of wood. This is, you can say it as the drum, and this drum is made up of wood. Some of the instruments may have this material as plastic or fiber, but this material is wood. Now the upper part of the drum, where you actually play the beats with your hands, is called the membrane. And this membrane over here, my instrument's membrane is made up of leather. This is the leather material. Other instruments may have this material as plastic, and there can be a variation in the sound with the plastic material or the leather material, but as you can see that I have used plastic materials in these 2 toms and the leather material on this bass drum. This is so because leather material gives sound which has more bass, which has more volume. That's why I've used this leather material, and to give a sharp sound to the toms, I have used plastic material on these 2 drums for making the membrane, because plastic gives a little sharper sound and leather gives a more bassy sound. That's why I've used leather material for the bass. Okay, so now we have seen this drum is made up of wood. It can be of fiber or plastic in some other drums, in some other instruments or the models, and this is of leather. It can be of also plastic in some other instruments according to your need and your sound. Now over here you can see some rods, steel rods, and a bolt over here. So the use of this is, if you feel like tightening up this membrane to give it decrease out the bass in this material, or if you want to add more bass and loosen up this membrane, so you can tighten up and loosen up these bolts accordingly. So for example, if I have to tighten up this membrane, I have to tighten up this bolts over here. If you want to loosen up the membrane, you have to loosen up the bolts over here. Okay, so what happens on tightening up and loosening up the bolts? So on tightening up the bolts, this membrane gets stretched, and the bassy sound which you want will slowly go away from this membrane. So this part of tuning the drums we'll see in the next video. But in this video, let's just understand the structure. This is the membrane, this is the drum, which is made up of wood. These are the rods which are used to tighten up and loosen up the membrane to tune up the whole instrument. So whatever there is here in this drum is similarly it is there in this tom 1 and tom 2. You can also see the rods, the drum, the membrane, the rods, the drum, the membrane, the stand, and this whole structure, the whole assembly is called Congo. So this was sufficient for this video. I think you would have understood the basic structure and how this instrument is made up of things, the materials, different materials. And in the upcoming videos, we'll be having a look at how to tune the instrument, how to play the instrument, and how to assemble and disassemble the instrument. So let's catch up in the other videos.